Om Vakratunda Mahataya Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanta Shanta Shanti. We were discussing the important topic called Pramanam. Pramanam means means of knowledge. Pramanam means means of knowledge. And there are 6 Pramanani. Pratyaksham, Anumanam, Arthapattihi, Upamanam, Anupalabdhigi, Shabdam. And among this, Pratyaksha Pramanam we saw yesterday. Now we are going to see the next Pramanam. Before that, just quick recap. For a Pramanam to be a valid Pramanam, it must fulfill these conditions. Pramanam should fulfill certain conditions. What are those conditions? First of all, it must have its Vishaya, number 1. Then, Anadhikatattvam, the scope of one Pramanam should not be covered by other Pramanam. Number 3, a Pramanam must not be available for neither for approval nor for disapproval for any other means of knowledge. Abhaditattvam. A Pramanam must be rational, must be very clear, unambiguous. It means it should produce clear knowledge. And of course, it must generate some knowledge. So, Anadhikata, Abhadita, Arthavata, Jnana Janakam, Pramanam. Now, among this, these are the Pramana Lakshanani. What are the Lakshanam for a Pramanam to be a valid Pramanam? Now, among this Pratyaksham we have seen. Now we are going to see Anumana Pramanam. Pratyaksham Pramanam is of 2 types. We have seen Indriya Pratyaksha, Sakshi Pratyaksha. Please read. You have to refer to the previous class. Now, we'll go to the next Pramanam, Anumanam. And remember, all the Pramanam, they based on the operation of the sense organs, basic sense organs. All other means of knowledge exist and depend on Pratyaksha only. How Pratyaksha operate? Its operation is dependent on the Indriya, sense organs. Therefore, it is called Mula Pramanam, Pratyaksha Pramanam. Now, what is Anumana? Anumanam, all the Pramanam depend on the Mula Pramanam, Pratyaksha. I will explain what Anumanam is. You will understand. You will understand how Pratyaksha is Mula Pramanam also. Now, what is the meaning of the word Anumana? What is the meaning? Anumana is Anumana. Anu Upasarga is right. And Mana is derived from the Dhatu, Ma Dhatu. Ma means to know. That's why we saw Ma, Niyate, Nyayate, to know. So Anumana, Anu Gachati. It's like that, Anumana. Upasarga, Anu is Upasarga. It means knowing after. So whatever I say, you need to take notes, and based on that only the questions will be there with regard to the exam point of view, I'm saying. And the knowledge for your understanding, that is one thing. Examination is another thing. So for both, you have to work. So I'm trying to give doubt-free knowledge. If doubts are there, please ask. And examination points, certain words, if I use, please note it. That is required. Okay. I don't have any notes to share. These are the, whatever I say, that you have to write it. That is how we also learned in the Gurukulam when we learned. Okay, now Anumana. Anumana means knowing after. That is the means by which knowledge of something is inferred through reasoning. So reasoning is involved. Sense organs, what do? They present the data to the pramata, the knower, from the outside world, from the sense objects, from the sense objects, sense organs take the data, derive the data, and they present to the pramata. And the pramata, what does it do? He has got buddhi faculty is there, therefore he uses his reasoning capacity to come to know that thing. Therefore, it is not direct knowledge, it is indirect knowledge. It is not immediate like the pratyaksha pramana. It is mediate knowledge. ME, mediate knowledge, not immediate. It is mediate knowledge, indirect knowledge. This is called Anumana, otherwise called inference. Anumana in English, it's called inference. Inference, what is inference now? Inference is ascertainment of a thing, ascertainment of the existence of a thing, though it is not directly perceived by the sense organs. I'll give a drishtanta, an example, you will understand it better. It's all stock example given in the Sampradaya. You see a cloud of smoke on the top of the mountain. You see a smoke on the top of the mountain. Now, what do you conclude? What will be your conclusion? Tell me, what will be your conclusion? If you see a cloud of smoke on the top of a mountain, unmute and answer.
Jay, could you please repeat the question?
Very good. If you see a cloud of smoke on the top of the mountain, what will be your conclusion?
It will be very dark and it will look like a rainy cloud.
No. If you see a cloud of smoke, I'm not talking about the cloud, okay? I'm talking about smoke is there at the top of the mountain. You see smoke, then what do you infer?
And what do you
infer? What do you conclude from that? See, you see a... Huh?
See, first we could think that cloud is near the mountain.
I know. See,
something is burning.
Exactly.
Somewhere.
That is what I'm saying. It means that you conclude that there is a fire on the mountain, right?
Yes.
There is fire on the, whether it is naturally created or somebody burnt or somebody cooks. See, in military and all they do. How do they find the hidden place of a terrorist or these people? How do they find? They see the smoke. That means somebody is there. Somebody is doing some burning. So that is a place where the person is located. It's a very cold place. So somebody is burning wood, and therefore there is smoke. So the person must be there. They approach him, right? So seeing the smoke from a distance, you conclude there must be fire. So, are you seeing the fire? No. With your eyes, are you seeing the fire? No. Only the smoke. So from the smoke, what you do? You infer, right? You reason out. Though you have not seen the fire directly. If you see directly, it is pratyaksha. You operate with your eyes and you see the fire. That is pratyaksha. But here you don't see the fire. You see only the smoke. Fire is a karanam and smoke is the karyam. Fire is the cause and smoke is a product. You see only the product. You don't see the cause, right?
Yes.
Therefore, though you are not seeing the fire directly, what do you conclude? Parvataha Vanniman, right? Parvataha Vanniman. Vanniman means Agnivan. I mean, Agni is there. So, Parvataha Vanniman, the mountain has fire. Why? Dhumavatvat. The hetu is because of the presence of smoke, you conclude that the mountain is on fire. The mountain has fire. Parvataha Vanniman. This is what is called Anumana. Understand?
Yes, Ji.
Though you infer the fire, not directly see, you infer. If you see the fire directly, it is pratyaksha. It falls under the first pramana, pratyaksha pramana. You see only the smoke, a cloud of smoke, only you see. That confirms the presence of fire. Understand? Why do we conclude? Why don't we conclude the mountain as rain or something else? You see a cloud of smoke, the smoke is there. Why don't you conclude the mountain has rain or something else? Because we know the simple fact that wherever the fire is, there will be smoke. Fire is Agni is Karanam. What will be the Karyam? Karyam will be Dhuma, smoke will be the Karyam. So they are invariably present. One is there means other one will be there. This is a simple fact. In those days, they cook in the kitchen. How do they cook? They use wood only. Not like in the modern day kitchen. Modern day kitchen, gas is there. There fire is there, but you don't see the smoke. Don't take that example. Okay. We need to take the example. All these examples are, as I told, stock example given in the Sampradaya. And the examples are all the practical example. In those days, when they cooked in the fire using the wood, the log will produce smoke. The modern day gas will not produce smoke. So don't take that example. So even now also in villages, they use wood. So where wood is there, what will happen? When the wood is burnt, smoke will be there. So in the kitchen you have seen. So the presence of fire and the subsequent presence of smoke, what relationship they have? They have the relationship of cause and effect. Understand?
Yes, Ji.
Yatra yatra agnihi, tatra tatra dhumaha. Wherever fire is, there is smoke. This is called technically vyaptihi. Technical word vyaptihi, invariable concomitance. Where one thing is there, the other thing, the resultant must be there. Okay. How? Because I have seen that in the kitchen. In the kitchen, I see fire and I see smoke. Fire is there, therefore smoke is there. Therefore, I conclude. That is my practical experience. I have seen yatra yatra varnihi tatra tatra dhumaha. From that I conclude. The same logic I apply when I see smoke on the top of the mountain. I conclude there must be fire. Understand? Because fire and the Agni, they have the relationship of cause and effect. And they present. This one is there, other will be present. That is called Vyaptihi, invariable concomitance in English, and Sanskritam it is called Vyaptihi. Understand?
Yes, Ji.
Yes, Ji.
Based on this invariable concomitance means co-presence. Right? Where Arpita ji is there, Shambhavi is there. If you want to find someone, first what you will do? You will find where the person is, his friend is, there he will be. That is what it is. Invariable co-presence. So therefore, we conclude that the mountain has fire. Now, what is a hetu? What is the cause to conclude that the mountain is on fire? Smoke, right? Smoke is the hetu, and fire is the effect. Sadhyam. All these are technical words. Fire is the sadhyam. Smoke is the hetu. Hetu abhave. Sadhya abhavaha. If hetu, the smoke is not there, you cannot conclude the mountain as fire, you cannot say. Hetu bhave, sadhya bhavaha. When hetu is there, you can conclude that sadhya, the effect, the smoke is there. The hetu is fire. Fire is there, therefore smoke is there. Sorry, I told the wrong way. The smoke is there, therefore you conclude the sadhyam, the effect. Understand? So clear?
Yes, Ji.
Therefore, it is not a belief here. Here we acknowledge the invariable concomitance. Smoke is the hetu, the cause, and therefore you conclude the sadhya, the fire. So hetu bhave, smoke bhave, sadhya bhavaha, fire bhavaha. Smoke abhave, fire abhavaha, sadhya bhavaha. Therefore, they have invariable concomitance. The co-presence relationship is there. This is not a belief. This is our understanding based on drishtanta, based on our practical experience, that we apply and conclude that mountain is on fire. This is called Anumana, inference. This knowledge is gained, as I told, from our common perception of our daily life, like in the kitchen or in the Yagashala. In the Yagashala, you take. The Yagashala, where do they do yajna? What do they put in the Homakunda? They put only the wood, etc. So where you observe smoke. When you see that smoke is there, it means fire is there, therefore only smoke is there. Without fire, how can smoke be there? That we see. So this Drishtanta, what does it do? It strengthens our Vyapti, that invariable concomitance. Smoke is there means fire also it is there. That Vyapti is strengthened by all our practical anubhava, experiences. So every Vyapti, like that, every Vyapti has the support of some practical experience, Drishtanta. Now, if Drishtanta contradicts, if our practical experience contradicts a Vyapti, then Anumana cannot be valid. Then Anumana cannot be valid, it loses its validity. Therefore, what are the things important to be noted here is, Etu is there, Sadhyam is there. That conclusion is based on the Vyapti, and Vyapti as a support of Drishtanta. So, if there any Drishtanta which contradicts the Vyapti, then the Anumana loses its validity. This way of gaining knowledge is called inferential knowledge. The logical deduction of this knowledge involves what? The perceptual evidence, that is Hetu, invariable concomitance, that is Vyapti, and the conclusion, Siddhanta. So this Anumanam, in fact, it is applied in all in our daily walks of life. You can see by different people, even doctor also. How does the doctor conclude that you have certain ailment? Does the doctor see? No. The doctor see only the effect. Like you see like the smoke, you see only the effect. From that he infer what disease is. This is in fact applied by doctors, even police also. How do the police investigate the case? They see the hetu. From that they arrive at the sadhyam. Right? Scientists, all these people, they apply this. Even we also apply in our daily life. You understand what is Anumana now?
Yes, Ji.
Yes. Now, Arthapatti, the next pramana. That is another important pramana. So Anumana is indirect perception. You see not direct perception. Direct perception is using the indriya, use whatever you see, that gives you the knowledge. Here also you see, but what you see you don't conclude. You arrive at the knowledge by applying the logic, the reasoning. That is called Anumana Pramanam. The next one is Arthapatti. Anyata Anupapattihi Arthapattihi. That is Anyata Anupapattihi Arthapattihi. Okay. Means what? Based on the facts available for immediate cognition, immediate knowledge, we arrive at the unknown facts of a thing. That is called Arthapatti. Arthapatti in English, it is translated as presumption or supposition or postulation. These are the English words they use. But let us understand what is Arthapatti very clearly. I'll give an example, you will understand. Arthapatti also is a type of inference only, but it is with two-step inference. Like Anumanam, it is also an indirect knowledge only, but it involves two steps. Now let me give an example, you will understand. Devadatta. Devadatta is the name of a person. Devadatta. He doesn't eat during the daytime. Okay. Devadatta doesn't eat during the day. For many days. You don't see him eating the day. What will happen if a person doesn't eat?
He will lose his energy.
He will lose weight, right? Naturally.
Weight and energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
He will lose his weight, he will become lean. But Devadatta doesn't lose weight also. Doesn't lose weight also. He doesn't lose his weight.
Maybe he is eating at night.
Exactly. But do you see him eating at the night? No. You conclude, right? So Devadatta, my friend, doesn't eat the whole day. I observe him the whole day and he continues not to eat for days together. He doesn't eat. This is one fact, what I see. In spite of not eating, what happens to him? He doesn't lose weight. That is also another fact. So two facts are there. One fact is I see him not eating. Other fact is he doesn't lose his weight. Now how am I going to connect this? If a person doesn't eat the whole day for days together, he will put down his weight. That is a fact. Now,
Yeah.
here the Devadatta doesn't eat during the day is one fact. It is pratyaksha. Devadatta doesn't lose his weight. That is also pratyaksha. Another. Therefore, one can presume. That's why the Attapati is called presumption. That Devadatta must be eating during the night. When everybody has gone to sleep, probably he stealthily gets into the kitchen and eats the night. So I can arrive at this logic, at this fact by a simple logic. Though I have not seen him eating during the day, but I arrive at this fact because I don't see him in the night. And also he has not put on weight. So if Devadatta has put on weight because of not eating, then I use Anumana Pramana to arrive at the cause. The non-eating has made him very thin. He has reduced his weight. But here is the opposite thing. Therefore, I use two-step inferences to arrive at the fact that Devadatta must be eating during the night. Though I don't observe him in the night, it's a logical deduction. So, what is arrived? This is how we arrive at the conclusion. The conclusion that Devadatta must be eating in the night. You understand the difference now between Arthapati and Anumanam? If Devadatta has lost weight, then I can conclude by Anumana, he doesn't eat, therefore he lost his weight. Right? This is Anumana. But he doesn't eat. At the same time, he doesn't lose weight. It must what? It must be doing eating action, or you must be eating without my knowledge in the night. So this is also another pramanam accepted. Right?
G.
Yes.
Does Anumana means assumption also?
Anumanam is not, don't assume. You don't assume. Anumanam is a pramanam. It is it's not assumption. You don't assume that a mountain is on fire. It is the fact, right?
Yes.
Based on the hetu, based on the sadhyam, based on the vyapti, and based on your drishtanta, the practical experiences, you conclude it must be on fire. Where is the assumption?
Okay.
If vyapti has got problem, if there is no invariable concomitance, if we can prove that the non-existence or non-coexistence of smoke and the fire, then my anumanam is wrong. Don't take the modern example. Okay, we have to take the example of the kitchen or yagashala example only. You have to take
Okay.
to understand what anumanam is.
Yes. G.
So anumanam is not assumption. Anumanam is inference. In the lab and all you do, if you have done chemistry lab, when you do some add some chemical, then it will become green color. Then you say, you don't assume. Then this metal is copper, right?
Copper.
Is it,
Yes.
is it,
G. Yes.
is it assumption?
Yes.
No, it is
No.
inference. In fact, in the +2, if you have done science group, you would have done an inference. Separately is that inference. That's what it is.
Yes. G.
And Arthapati is two-step inference. Here we not only Anumanam. Anumanam plus one more. Two steps are involved. So suppose another example I'll give you. This example itself is sufficient, Devadatta. But another example. The whole day was hot. Okay. And the road was dry. The whole day was hot and the road was dry. Then the night I go to sleep. The next day morning I got up and just come out and see. I find that the whole street was wet. Whole street was wet means what?
Which means it was rainy.
Raining the
It was
last
raining
night.
on the night.
It must have rained in the last night, right? Nobody will come and
Yeah.
pour water with a lorry or buckets on the road. Unnecessary, right? So nobody would have put buckets of water on the road. Why should I do it? Therefore, I conclude it must have rained in the night. Though I have not seen. If I had seen, then it is pratyaksha. Right? If I have seen, it is pratyaksha. I have not seen rain. And my observation was previous day, the whole day was very hot. I didn't see rain. At night I went, then morning I saw it is raining. So I conclude that when water is there, wetness will be there. So wetness is, by seeing the wetness, I presume that water is there. But here, I have not seen the wet. I have not seen here the rain at all. The whole day was hot. How can there be rain? How can there be water, wetness? So that must be, I conclude, it must have rained in the night, right? So at that time of raining, I didn't see, right? I conclude that after I wake up, I see, and then even if after my wake up, I go and see if it is raining, then it's okay. I see the rain, therefore road is wet. But there is no rain in the morning, and I go and see the road is wet. Previous day it was dry, so I conclude it must have rained. This is called Arthapatti. Understand?
Yes, it's clear.
Another example, Devadatta did not come to school by school bus. Why? I was there in the bus. I didn't see him. My friends also did not see him in the railway station, not in the bus stand, but he was there before me in the school. Therefore, what is that? Therefore, I conclude someone, his father or somebody would have dropped him in the school by some vehicle, right? Arthapatti. So it's called
It's very clear.
Arthapatti. Two-step inference. What is arrived by Arthapatti? As I told you, Anadhikata, Abadita, Arthavata, Jnana, Janakam, Pramanam, that cannot be arrived by Pratyaksha, or that cannot be arrived by Anumana. So Arthapatti is a separate means of knowledge. This indirect knowledge also we apply in our day-to-day life. Many of our activities are dependent on this Arthapatti. We may not aware of this, but we apply this Pramanam. In fact, every day we apply. We just see that all the instruments, like car, the vehicles, etc., they all operate on Arthapatti. Even the flight, they say. How do the pilot know the flight is landing on the ground? Does he see the wheel touching the runway? No. Without seeing the wheel touching the runway, how can he land? Arthapatti. Understand?
Yes.
Now, another 9 minutes left out. The meeting will end. After it, even if it ends, I will send you the link. Okay. Now, Upamana, let us take the next Pramana. And I know I'm a little bit rushing because I want to complete this and then go to the next one. Through examples, I try to make you understand, and you think and you write your example. When I ask for some examples in the exam, I'm giving an hint also. Okay. So you think and give your example. Give a valid example. Think in the same line as what I gave, you can give. Then Upamana. What is Upamana? Upa samipe miyate iti upamanam. It means, that's all Upamanam is. Manam, miyate, nyayate. Upa is samipe. Samipe miyate. Upa is samipe. Samipe miyate iti upamanam. It means, suppose if I have not seen Arpita ji, I have not seen you, right? I have not seen you. Suppose if I ask Shambhavi ji, how does Arpita look? Suppose if I ask you, and you tell me, Arpita, I'm just giving an example, okay? Arpita looks like the cinema actress Anushka. Suppose I say something, huh? What is that? It is. What is that? It is. I get the knowledge of Arpita.
Comparison.
That is
Comparison.
called Upamana. It's a Pramanam. I come to understand. I come to have an image of Arpita because of what Shambhavi said. She looks like cinema actress Anushka. That's some name I came. Okay. Or if you want any other good name also, I can tell you. Okay, I don't know. Suddenly, that one, that name only I remember. Maybe because of Bahubali, whatever maybe, right? So then I know, Arpita, she looks like she's tall and little stout also, fat also. I may come to some conclusion. How you really look, I have not seen, but based on what Shambhavi said, I arrive at the knowledge of you, right? This is what is called Upamana. You understand?
Yes.
It means
Yes.
that by which one is closer to other closer to that which needs to be known. So I need to know Arpita, I must know what? Anushka. If I know Anushka by the words of Shambhavi, then I can know Arpita. Understand?
Yes, yes.
It is not physical closeness. Understand? Anushka and Arpita, they need not be physical, they need not have physical closeness. But even in my knowledge, I'm saying, they need not resemble, they are not two the same people. Arpita is not a replica of Anushka, but certain similarities are there. Therefore, you say she's like her. Now, when you say, then I conclude at the cognition level, she must be, I can form an image, right? That is called upamana. They give this example. A special type of ox a person see in the forest. Now, special types of ox, we say gavayaha, in the forest a person has seen. Then the person, it tells his friend, he has seen something in the forest similar to the cows. Cow we know. So, telling a known thing and making understand the unknown thing, that is called upamana. How can you make it? Only when there is similarity, only when there is comparison. Then only by comparing, then we gain knowledge. So, that is called upamana. By comparison, we get the knowledge. This example itself is enough. Anushka Arpita. Right? So it is I don't want to give the stock example, the ox and the other thing. By this example, you understand, that is fine. Suppose if I ask you, how is yours? It is like Chennai. Then I know how the US. Why should I go to US to have the Chennai experience? I can better be here. Right? That's upamana, yes. So, therefore, upamana is also a separate pramanam, distinct pramanam, and it has got two things to compare in terms of similarities. To understand a thing, we need other thing and compare in terms of similarity and understand. Therefore, that is also a type of pramanam, upamana pramanam. Understand?
Yes,
Yes.
So, with the drishtanta, the example, you understand immediately. Okay. The next one, anupalabdhihi, another important pramana. Anupalabdhihi means na upalabdhihi anupalabdhihi, that which is not apprehended. Means that it is non-perception of a thing which doesn't exist. That is called anupalabdhihi. Non-apprehension, in English it is translated as non-apprehension. What do you understand by this? That is non-perception of a thing. Listen to me very carefully. Non-perception of a thing which doesn't exist. Example.
Which means there is nothing.
Yes. I take again you. I will take somebody. Kausalya.
No issues, we can take.
Okay. Some different names you have to take. You don't see Kausalya carrying a pot on her head. There is no gata pot. There is no pot on the head of Kausalya. Pot is there? No pot, right? So what do you perceive? The absence of, you don't see the pot. See, do you perceive the pot? There is no pot. The absence of pot. There is an absence of pot on the person who is present. Right? Only if a pot is there, if she carries a pot on her head, I can use my indriya, chakshur indriya, which is a pratyaksham, and conclude there is a pot. How can sense organs pick up the absence of a thing? Sense organs can pick up only that which exists and available for perception. The absence of perception or the perception of something in its place, that what will happen? Absence of perception of pot or perception of something in the place of pot by sense organs, it leads a pramata to conclude that there is no pot on the head of Kausalya. This is called non-apprehension. That is, you don't see a thing. You don't see a thing, right? You don't see a particular thing. You don't see a thing. If seeing a thing requires indriyas. Seeing a thing, you need indriya.
Then you are just assuming that she is carrying a pot.
No, not as if she doesn't carry. You don't see a pot on her head. Therefore, what? Therefore,
She's not.
she doesn't have pot.
There is no pot.
There is no pot. There is no pot on her head. So absence of a thing. Absence of a thing. The perception of the perception of the absence of the, otherwise you can say non-perception of a thing, which doesn't exist. Does a pot exist on her head? No. So therefore you don't perceive the pot. That is called anupalabdhi.
Another example.
I'll give another example. You'll understand. Now the meeting is going to end. I'll give a better example. Okay. This meeting will end. I'll send the link. I'll stop recording and then send you the link again.
Okay.
See, need to understand one thing very clearly. Sense organs can perceive only that which are available for perception. Yes or no?
Yes.
Can sense organs perceive that which is not present?
Yes, Ji.
Sense organs cannot perceive that which is not present. How can it perceive?
It cannot.
Sense organs cannot perceive that which is not present. That is why I gave the example of that Kausalya carrying a pot on her head. If she carries a pot on her head, then I can operate my eyes to see that there is, and not pratyaksha. There need not be. There is no need to conclude. I see pot on her head. She is carrying a pot. Now there is no pot. The absence of pot. Is absence of pot by perception? That is my question. The knower, the seer, is aware of both perception and non-perception. That's different. But can the sense organs perceive the absence of a thing? That's the question. I don't see pot on her head. Can the sense organs perceive the absence of a pot? Understand this very clearly. As a knower, I am aware of things which are available for perception and which are not. On perception of things and perception of things. Can the sense organs perceive that which doesn't exist? You understand my question?
No, Ji, it cannot.
So sense organs cannot perceive the absence of a thing. Sense organs can only pick up things which exist. Here pot doesn't exist on her head. Sense organs can perceive only which exist and available for perception. Right? So the pot is not there. The absence of I don't see pot on her head. Therefore, sense organs do not perceive pot. Sense organs do not perceive pot because pot is not there. But as a knower, the absence of the perception of pot, I conclude, or in the place of pot, she has got flower on her head. Something else, flower on her head. So I come to the conclusion that pot is not there on her head. Pot is not there on her head. What is there? Flower is there. It is not a pot. This is called Anupalabdhi. In fact, this is another important pramana which is widely used. Like what? How does a doctor infers a disease of a person? Now you go to a doctor. What does the doctor say? He asks you to take blood test. All the tests he says, urine test, motion test, all the tests he asks you to take, right? Why does he ask you to take? Why does he ask you to take blood test, all other tests? to rule out the
To check whether it is affected in the particular organ or what.
to rule out the possibilities, right? The doctor
Yeah.
wants to know the absence of a thing. You understand? The doctor cannot see with his indriyas, he cannot see the absence of a thing. Suppose you have got malaria. Doctor cannot see it. How can the doctor see? He may see the symptoms, but not the disease as such. So therefore, he asked him to take the test. Indriyas cannot see the absence of, Indriyas cannot see the present. In this thing, the malaria is not there for you. Okay, malaria is not there, but doctor has got doubt. Only doubt is there. Malaria is not there. So the absence of malaria, the Indriyas cannot see. Therefore, what does the doctor do? He wants to, since he has got doubt, he wants to rule out the possibility. Therefore, he asks you to undergo the test. By the test results, what he does? He confirms the absence of malaria. Understand?
Yes, Ji.
So therefore, a doctor infers the disease of a person by narrowing down the absence of symptoms of other diseases. You don't have this disease, you don't have this, doctor is ruling out one by one. So that finally he can come to he can narrow down the conclusion, and therefore he can come to a certain decision. This is the problem you have. A person having a headache, I tell you, it could be because of 2000 different reasons, they say. A person having a headache could be because of his eyes, right? He has got eyes problem or vision problem. Because there is problem in the eyes, a person can have a headache. Or if a person has got sinusitis, he may have a headache. If he has migraine, he may have a headache. If he has the person takes regular head bath, he may have a headache. Even if there is problem with the teeth, he may get a headache. Now, the doctor has to rule out the possibilities. The absence of the causes he has to ascertain. How does it do? He asks you to undergo different tests. By asking you to go under different tests, the doctor narrows down the cause by eliminating the absence of other symptoms, because the absence cannot be perceived by sense organs. So therefore, only he asks you to undergo various tests. The doctor, you go to the doctor, why does he ask you to take X-ray? To confirm whether it's a fracture or not. To rule out, not to confirm, sorry, to rule out or to see whether fracture has happened or not. The doctor doesn't know, he doesn't see. He may have doubt, that is different. Doubt is that because by touching, by seeing, that is not a valid means. Because where doubt is there, then that pramanam is not, with the available pramanam is not validating that. So he wants to validate. Therefore, what he has to do, he has to take X-ray. From the X-ray, he will rule out that it is not a fracture, right? Absence of the bone fracture. He rules out. And therefore, you don't have to worry. So doctor says simply he will give some pain reliever, sends you home. So that's what it is. So all these are what? Non-apprehension. Non-apprehension of a thing. Perception of the absence of a thing by the application of this pramanam, because absence of a thing cannot be perceived. Therefore, applying the Anupalabdhi pramanam, the absence of a thing is apprehended. Therefore, this pramanam is called Anupalabdhi. Understand? Is it clear? The first example is not good. Second example, doctor example must be clear.
The doctor example we can understand, Ji, but how it is applicable to the Anupalabdhi is not clear, Ji.
Anupalabdhi means what?
Actually, Kaushalya is carrying a pot, but for our eyes, it's looking like a flower.
No.
Is it like that?
No. That is wrong perception. That is not pramanamata.
Okay.
If you perceive it as a flower, you have to go and check the doctor. You have got problem in your eyes. She doesn't carry pot. The absence of a pot. Okay. The absence of a pot, and see the absence. Sense organs cannot perceive the absence of a thing. That you must understand.
Yeah.
Sense organs can perceive only that which is available for perception. The absence of a thing cannot perceive. So, She does the absence of on the pot on her head is not by perception. How can you perceive that which doesn't exist? How can you perceive that
Okay.
which doesn't exist? Sense organ cannot pick up the absence of a thing. Sense organ pick up only that which exists and available for perception. That is what I keep saying. So, how are you going to perceive the absence of a thing that is not by sense organs? If it can be perceivable by sense organs, then we don't need Anupalabdhi. Directly, Pratyaksha Pramanam, we can, Indriya Pramanam, Indriya Pratyaksha, you can apply and know. But what you do it, hear it, the absence of the perception of pot leads a knower to the conclusion that pot is not there. Or the perception of flower on the head. Okay, this you take like this. The perception of flower on the head leads to the conclusion that there is no pot. You see the flower. You see the flower. Therefore, and the other person from a distance, he may see the pot. Now, the presence of flower confirms the absence of, in fact, any other thing. Only flower alone is present. Pot is not perceived. Flower is perceived. So the absence of a pot is confirmed by the presence of flower. Therefore, it is Anupalabdhi. Now we understand. Still not clear. Not clear. This
No,
pot.
Ji.
Leave it. No problem. The doctor example you take, that is fine. If you understand that, or you are, what you don't understand, you tell me. See,
In the doctor example, we can guess what is the problem. So to rule out that
See,
we are
you're not understanding the
requesting
Drishtanta.
patient to.
Doctor is not guessing. Doctor wants to narrow down the problem. He wants to rule out. He wants to know the absence of certain things. How can he know the absence of certain things?
By undergoing some tests.
By undergoing his rules out, right? That is called Anupalabdhi.
Yeah.
That is called Anupalabdhi. It narrows
The
down.
process of undergoing the test is Anupalabdhi.
No. The Drishtanta only I have to take like that, but don't take that absence. The Drishtanta what I gave, that from that you understand what is Anupalabdhi. The perception. Not perception. The knowledge of the absence of a thing. The knowledge of the absence of a thing is only by Anupalabdhi. The knowledge of absence of pot on the head of Kausalya is by Anupalabdhi. She doesn't have pot. What she has got flower. Only flower only you see. Flower is available for your Indriya Pratyaksha. Therefore, you see flower. If somebody says pot is there, you have to ask, where is the pot? She has got flower. So the absence of perception of pot or the presence of perception of flower. The perception of presence of flower on her head confirms the absence of perception of pot. This is called Anupalabdhi. Understand this? Or is it still confusing? Presence of... No, listen to me. The presence of the perception of flower on the head of Kausalya confirms the absence of what? The pot. So, how do you conclude she doesn't have a pot? Because she has got flower on her head. You don't see the pot, you see the flower. Therefore,
then why we have to use the word pot over there? We can directly say that she is having a flower now.
Only Drishtanta. That's why
that alone is confusing,
Ji, you are using your Indriya, Chakshurindriya, you are staying with only Pratyaksha. We are talking about Anupalabdhi. You see flower, but somebody having problem in her eye doesn't see. He sees pot. Then what will you do?
We have to take that person to the hospital.
That is different. Okay. So, what in essence, what the Anupalabdhi is, that sense organs which cannot, sense organs cannot confirm the absence of a thing. Sense organs cannot, it is not the job of sense organs. You understand? Sense organs perceive only the thing which are present, which are available. Suppose,
Astu ji.
now I'll give another. I ask you to find out if there is anybody in the class. I ask you to find out, is there anybody in the class? You go to the classroom and then you come and report. What? What do you report?
Ji.
I ask you to find out, is there anybody in the classroom? You go and see and then come back and report to me, there is no one in the class, right? Yes,
Mm.
sir.
Yes, Ji.
But no one, do you perceive that? With your eyes?
No, Ji.
Yeah.
Only by witnessing the absence of students there.
See, nobody is there. Nobody is there that is not available for your sense perception, because absence of people, absence of students in the class is not available for your sense perception. You conclude actually. Your eyes report, your eyes see only the classroom. It doesn't see the people. Understand this. I think this is where the confusion is. Your eyes can see only the classroom, empty classroom, right? The classroom is
Yeah.
vacuum, empty. From that, you conclude there is no one, all right? Yes or no?
Yes, ji.
Your eyes see only empty classroom, only walls are there. You see floor is there, upper floor, ground floor, and maybe benches are there. That only you see. Don't you see? These are available
Yes,
for
ji.
your,
Only we can see that.
all these are available for your perception, right? You see that?
Yeah.
I ask you, is there anyone in the class? Then what do you say? You come and report me, no one. Did you see no one in the class? No one is non-existent. How can you perceive the non-existent thing with your eyes? Understand my question now. It's little bit thinking, huh?
Yeah.
It is makes you think really. So eyes can, if somebody is there, you say yes, somebody is there. Arpita ji is there in the class. You can say Arpita ji is not there. The absence of Arpita, can it be perceived by your eyes? No. Eyes can see only that which are available for perception. Nose can smell that which is only available for perception. So you come and report me there is no one in the class. It means you operate this pramana, anupalabdhi pramana. This is what you operate daily. Without your knowledge, this is the pramanam you operate. You see that there is no one in the class. It means you see not no one. We use the language no one. But actually what you see the floor, you see the fan, you see the benches, all those things you see. You don't see no one because you cannot see that which is not existent. Understand?
Astu ji.
Therefore, what you say, because you see something else, now you see, because you see something else, therefore you conclude there is no one. Is it a direct perception? No. If it is direct perception, then you see the person directly. But here what you conclude, because other things are there, therefore this thing is the person is not there, nobody is there. Therefore, anupalabdhi. The same thing in the example of Kausalya also. Anyway, that pot example is not, if it is not good, this example you take, or doctor example is, this example, I think it's better than other examples. This makes you understand.
Yes, Ji. It is.
Still not clear, Arpita ji?
Ji, I said yes, it is clear.
Yes. What about Shambhavi ji? And
Clear, ji.
who is Kausalya here? Kausalya is here?
Ji, the girl who carries the pot is Kaushalya.
That's what. Who is she in the class?
Ji.
Who is
Ji,
Kausalya? Oh, Swati Sundar. You are Kausalya, right?
Ji.
Okay.
I forgot
Yes.
to change my name.
Okay, that's why I'm asking. Okay. So I should have told them Swati. Okay. So, Anupalabdhi is a pramanam what you operate. See, this is what, without knowing, we operate it. Now you know it what it is, right?
Yes, ji.
First, see, all this pramanam we operate and not knowing. We are using all our indriyas. And many things what we do, we based on the perception of our sense organs, we operate all this pramanam. In fact, Anupalapadi also, the pramanam, pratyaksha is required. You have to use your eyes, and you have to use your eyes based on the data provided by the sense perception, you conclude. Here also, Anupalapadi is not direct perception. That I think that is what your confusion is. You confuse Anupalapadi with pratyaksha because you see no one. No one is what? Absence. Absence of a thing, I'm saying it is not possible. You cannot see the absence of a thing. You are seeing something in the place. Therefore, you conclude there is no one. Understand? That is called Anupalapadi. It must be clear now.
Yes, Ji.
Yes, Ji, it is.
Yes,
The
must
doctor
be.
example is very easy to understand.
This example also, in fact, this better. I'm happy with this example. In fact, I'm very much convinced with this example. Seeing no one, right? That is better example I feel compared to doctor even. In fact, doctor's example also is very good. This example. SG should come with force. So only I will know whether you understood it correctly. Happy with this understanding of the pramana. This is my my inference, Anumanam. Based on your response, I conclude whether you understand or not. This is what pramanam is that for me. I don't see, I cannot open your head and see whether this knowledge has entered your head. I infer based on your response. Yes, G. Yes, G. Yes, G. Different types of tone is there. From that I can make Anumanam. Yes, you understood it. Understand?
Yes, Ji.
This is yeah, this is very low. So therefore, what will I understand?
Yes, Ji.
Anyway, so I take it for that you have understood. Anupalapadi. I move on to the next one. Shabda Pramana. Okay. Doubt is that, please think. You have to think, listen to that, analyze the example. Then you will understand. Why we give all these examples? Drishtanta is only to make you understand. Okay. Okay. Now, last one is what?
Shabdaha.
Shabda Pramanam. Shabda meaning?
Veda Pramanam.
What is Shabda? What is the meaning of the word Shabda?
Sound. G, sound.
Sound is one meaning. What is the other meaning? Words. Right?
Okay, Ji. Yes, Ji.
And the 5 pramanams I told you, what they are called? The first 5 pramanam, pratyaksha, anumana, artha.
Paurusheya Pramanani.
Very good, yes. Pratama pancha pramanani, paurusheya pramanani. And the last pramanam is very important pramanam, shabda pramanam, which is not paurusheyam. It is
Purusheya Pramanam.
apurusheya pramanam. Shabda pramanam, otherwise called shastra pramanam, which means the knowledge generated. See, every pramanam generates knowledge. Important condition. Jnana janakatvam, right? So, the knowledge produced by the last pramanam, apurusheya pramanam, means the knowledge generated by this pramanam is out of scope for the available instruments of knowledge. So the first 5 are available, the pramanams are available for human instruments. Last one is not available for human instruments. What are the main instruments we have? The 5 indriyas, that is pratyaksha. Based on the Moola Pramanam, Anumana, Arthapati, Upamanam, Anupalabdhi, all these things operate. The Shabda Pramanam is not within the human, not available for perception with the available human instruments of knowledge. Therefore, where does it lie? It is placed outside. The pramanam is outside. You cannot do any effort. See, if your eyes don't see properly, what do? You can clean your eyes with water, or you can wear spectacles. You can do something and make it see. If eyes don't see. And similarly, if Anumanam or Arthapati, any of the Pramanam, if it's not, if it is, if it is, if you have any problem with the Mula Prama, with the eyes, etc., and accordingly, this Pramanam will have some the problem. Then by correcting that, you can put effort and correct your perception, and accordingly, the conclusion based on these Pramanams can be corrected. So the yatna is involved, prayatna is involved, human effort is involved in operating, in gaining the knowledge, applying these 5 Pramanams. That's why I said, if there is problem in the eyes, you can correct it, and then accordingly you can derive, you can arrive at the knowledge of a thing by applying Anumana, Arthapati, Upamanam, Anupalabdhi. Because eyes are important. Eyes mean not only eyes, ears, nose, all the 5 organs of knowledge, very important. Because these are the Mula Pramanam by which you, by which the data from the sense objects enter you, and that data alone is processed, and it processed, and you apply different Pramanam, Anumanam, Arthapati, Upamanam, Anupalabdhi, by which you come to the knowledge of a thing. Now, so the 5 Pramanams involve Purusha, Yatna, Prayatnam is involved. But the last why Prayatnam is involved? Because it is available with you. That which is available with you, with that you can work. But Shabda is not with you. It is outside of you. It means, what does it mean? In the form of Veda, the form of Shastram, it is outside of you. Unless Bhagavan reveals the Shastram, can it be available to the human beings? Can it be available to the rishis, first of all, and then to the human beings? Yes or no? No.
No, Ji.
First, we have to understand Vedas were the revelations revealed to the rishis. If Bhagavan had not revealed, if he had chosen not to reveal it, then rishis would not have got. If rishis would not have got, then we also would not have got. Right? So it is not available for human beings at all. The Pramanam is not there. Bhagavan had chosen not to reveal. Understand?
Yes, Ji.
But Bhagavan had chosen to reveal. That's why he is compassionate. And he revealed to the rishis in the deep dhyanam meditation. The recipients of this knowledge are called rishis. And they, out of compassion, they transfer to the disciples, thus forming a parampara, the lineage. That's a lineage. That's called Rishi Parampara. So from the Rishi Parampara, from the Rishi to the son, is to his son, like that, in the form of a family or in the form of a disciple, the knowledge, the Vedas were transferred from one generation to the next generation. That is how the Vedas, it has come down, and it is available even now. Even though complete portion of the Veda is not available, but at least available thanks to the transfer of this knowledge from generation to generation. First, it was revealed to the rishis and down the generation, and therefore a parampara is formed. How it was transferred? They did not publish the book, the form of a book printing and all. In those days, books are not there, printing press are not there. All these are what? In the form of what? In the form of words.
Vijnanam.
Only Shravanam. Only by, see, Vedas were not written, as I told. They teach you, you have to hear, you have to repeat. The teacher will teach you today. Tomorrow the student has to come and repeat what the teacher had taught yesterday. If the student doesn't repeat, again he has to work on that homework. Till he repeats what the teacher had told yesterday, he has to practice. So the students have to hear what the teachers say. Therefore, Shravanendriya, he has to use the ears, and Shabda flows from the mouth of the teacher, flows to the ears of the students, and students hearing that, he keeps on ruminating and practicing, and then tells. So therefore, through the ears the words enter, and the words are nothing but the knowledge, and these words are further uttered by the students to their students. It means they become the guru and they become the disciple. And those students, when they become the guru, they transfer this knowledge in the form of words to the students, and those students hear it. So like that, from mouth to ears, ears to mouth, ears. That is how it is transferred. Therefore, it is called Karna Parampara. Because Shabda, the words have to be heard. Therefore, this Parampara is called Karna Parampara. The knowledge was transmitted orally, the tradition. Therefore, the tradition is called Karna Parampara. It is not Likitam. The words were not Likitam. It is not written and published. All these were transferred orally. You understand? All these were transmitted orally. That is why it is called Karna Parampara. The words in the form of sound enter the ears of the students. So the knowledge takes place by hearing. And Mula Pramanam, Pratyaksha, because he has to hear. And that becomes the knowledge in his head. And in the form of words, again, it comes down to his mouth, to his students, and the students hear, thus forming a parampara. And the parampara is called Karna Parampara. Karna means ears. Now Veda is available in the form of printed materials. That is a different thing. But because technology has come, therefore it's available. Because it is available in the form of a book, we cannot conclude it is a book. Veda is a pramanam. It's a means of knowledge. How can a book be a means of knowledge? Please understand. If somebody says Veda is a book, you have to dismiss. How can Veda be a book, being a pramanam? Pramanam means means of knowledge. That you have to operate to gain knowledge. Right? Therefore, it is not a book. What the Veda can be published in the form of a book, that is different. But Veda is not a book. Okay. So, what is book? A book is nothing but collection of words. Shabdatmakam Grantaha. So, there are books, physics book, chemistry books, all those books are there. Those books are written by some authors to convey certain knowledge through words. That also Pramana, because they convey some knowledge through words in the form of book. But Vedas are not written like that. Okay. Vedas are, even compare this to the Vedas, unlike Vedas, the author of a physics book or chemistry book, he has already got the knowledge through other means of knowledge and presented the knowledge in the form of words. Therefore, only say a book, any book cannot be a Pramana. A physics book cannot be a Pramana. Chemistry book cannot be a Pramana. The Newton's law of gravity is the form of words in the physics book. That is not a Pramana because Newton had discovered gravity by operating his Pratyaksha Pramanam. He had got the knowledge, and the knowledge is in the form of the printed material, in the form of words are there. Therefore, book cannot become a Pramanam. What is a Pramanam? Pramanam is Pratyaksha. Already he got. In the same way, Shabda, the words of the Vedas, which are in the form of book, the Vedas are also can print it in the form of a book. Is it? Can we compare the Veda as a book with a physics book? No. The knowledge which is contained in the physics book already verified by other means of knowledge. Therefore, physics is not a book, is not a knowledge. It's not a pramanam, in fact. It is knowledge, but it is not a pramanam. Whereas Veda, what Veda says that has not been confirmed by other means of knowledge. Therefore, Veda is a pramanam. Because you publish Veda in the form of a book, nowadays it's available in the form of a printed material. Because it is available in the form of the printed material, people think that is a book. It is not a book. Because what the Veda says, that has to be verified only by the Veda. You cannot apply other means of pramanam to know what Veda says. Whereas what physics books say that you can verify by applying the Pratyakshadi Pramanam as Newton had discovered gravity. Similarly, you can also apply your Pratyaksha Pramanam and arrive at the knowledge what a physics book convey. But here, to know itself, you have to apply Veda. To know what Veda says, for that itself you have to apply this knowledge. So therefore, Veda as a Shabda is a Pramanam. You need to understand this, very important. A book on gravity written by Newton. It consists of the facts discovered by him in his own words. The words of the book convey the knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of gravity to the readers. though the words are the carriers of knowledge, with regard to the physics book I'm saying, it cannot be called pramanam because the author Newton had got the knowledge through the application of other means of knowledge like pratyaksha anumana. So knowledge gained by pratyaksha anumana, when conveyed in form, words, either in written form or oral form, it cannot be a separate pramanam. It should be a pratyaksha or anumana or any other pramana. Because if you say it is a pramanam, it violates the status of being a pramanam. But if we say anadhigata, arthavata, abhadita, jnanajanakam pramanam, we said before. Therefore, the facts like gravity, etc., it can be verified by the reader by the application of pratyaksha anumana. Therefore, any book other than Veda is nothing but pratyakshadi pramanam only. Okay. Not Shabda Pramanam. We cannot take it as a Shabda Pramanam. The words of those books do not produce any new knowledge. Do not produce new knowledge which is not verifiable Pratyakshadi Pramanam. The words of those books produce knowledge which is verifiable. Therefore, for a Pramanam to be valid, the important condition is, what did you say? It should not be approved or disapproved by any other means of knowledge. That you have to remember always. Therefore, the words of the Veda are not the statements of experience born of Pratyakshadi Pramana. What the Veda says is not available for verification by other Pramanam. You need to understand the conditions for a Pramanam to be a valid Pramanam. Then only what I say will become clear. What the Veda says as a Veda being a Pramanam, it should not be available for verification by other Pramanam. Since the knowledge are conveyed by the words of the Veda, they are not merely the words of experience of the rishis. They are not it is Swataf Pramanam. Veda as a Shabda, it has come down from Bhagavan, it is a Pramanam, that has to be operated by a human being to know what it says. You cannot use other Pramanam to know what it says. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, Ji.
Just because a common understanding, even because BA and all, you have studied Veda, etc. You would have thought Veda is a book. It's not a book. To negate that, only I gave the example of physics, etc. Physics book is there and Veda also is there. In your library, you find Veda as a book, huge book. So it is also a book. And physics, chemistry, other books are there. That is also a book. Then what is the difference between the two books? Two books are conveying the same knowledge? No. What Veda convey, that cannot be verified by other means of knowledge. What physics book convey can be verified by other means of knowledge. In fact, what physics book convey is what has been verified by other means of knowledge, that only physics book convey in the form of words. But what Veda says is not like that. What Veda says, it is not the experience of the rishis. They are not the authors. They are only the receivers. They transferred what they received from Bhagavan as it is. So if you want to know, you operate the Veda. You operate the eyes to see. Similarly, you use the Veda Pramanam to know what Veda says. Understand?
Yes, Ji. Ji, can we apply the word anadhika tattvam here?
Exactly.
Because we cannot. Okay.
Yes, that is the condition for a Pramanam to be a valid Pramanam. If what Veda says can be verified by other Pramanam, then Veda stops to be a Pramanam. Therefore, only I said physics, chemistry, those books are not Pramanam. They convey what has been already experienced or verified by other means of knowledge. For example, in the chemistry lab, you by your experience, you know how to prepare hydrochloric acid, something like that. Okay, hydrochloric acid. That knowledge only is printed in the form of book. So what has been verified by you, Pratyaksha and Anumana, that you write it in the form of a book and you publish. Can the book become a Pramanam? Do you know that? No. Because that already Pratyaksha Anumanam has been applied and this knowledge has been received. You are presenting the knowledge in the form of words. Doesn't make that doesn't make it a Pramanam. Whereas Vedas are not like that. What the Veda conveys, to know that you have to operate the Veda only. Understand? That's why Veda is a Pramanam. Veda is Swataf Pramanam. It doesn't carry information gained from any other pramanam. Therefore, there is no possibility to verify what Veda says by other pramanam. Cannot be validated by other pramanam. The meeting is going to end. Yes. If it ends, I will tell you again. Now you understand Shabda
Okay,
Pramana?
Ji. Yes, Ji.
Very
Clear,
good.
Ji.
More on that, from the examination point, you understand. More on that, we will see when again we will meet. Okay. Om Purnamadav